Good morning. Good morning, dear friend. Today I did something which I don't normally do, but I did it because I have a friend who I was doing the right thing, and I decided to take him to the airport. He was staying here in New York, and I had suggested the usual Uber thing, but I said, you know what? Let me just take you there. So Mrs. L and I jumped in the Yugo. It's a stretch. And off we went to JFK. And there's something about leaving, going through Manhattan, why people cannot say, I called the doctor the other day. Well, he has a Manhattan office in the Manhattan. Where did this come from? Mrs. Martin in Manhattan. I don't remember this at any time in my life. I don't remember hearing this at any time in my life. I don't remember this. Where did this come from? The Manhattan, Mrs. Martin. By the way, Lionel merch available. Be the first in your block. So as we are traversing and tooling about, there is something so beautiful about seeing Manhattan early in the morning and then heading on over to Queens, heading on over, getting on the, the Midtown Tunnel, and the sunlight is like, my God, it's just, and to see all of the people and all of the activity and all of this. At first, it's very quiet and clean, and then you go and you see this cacophony, this sea of humanity of every. And so I took my friend and said, you know what, we'll take you to the terminal, no problem. Here's how you check your thing, whatever. And by the way, it's very interesting. Kiosk. I still think, JetBlue is just the best. They are just so efficient. It's not even funny. And I'm just telling you. I hate flying. But everything, it's so easy. Kiosk and this, and see, off you go. And he took my advice. Get that TSA pre-clearance, and you look at the people. You look at these folks. I'm thinking, look, I don't want to be cruel, but I'm going to be cruel. Who are these jadruls who represent the federal airline protection agencies? These people are morons. Look at them. They can barely speak. I mean, anything. And the obesity and the people wearing pajamas and those slidey, and this and then all of a sudden there's this somebody who's dressed to the nines. Like, what is this? And then going back into the city as people are going to work, and you see such an absolute symphony of people walking, and their coffee and their bagel, and they're moving, and I'm seeing men wear suits again. I'm seeing people dress up a little bit. It's really something to see. I love studying the landscape. JFK is an international. When you drive in, you know how normally when you go into an airport it says, Terminal 1 is for, JetBlue, United, whatever, maybe of Southwest. Maybe a 2 terminal speed. This has the signs, Air Ethiopia, Air Uzbekistan, every airline you can imagine. It's just wow. And there was this wonderful scene of this family. I don't know where they were from. I'm always trying to look and say, Central America? I don't know. I couldn't. It seemed maybe. I love races. I love the study of people. I love to see where are they from. Listen to the way they talk. Look what he's wearing. Look what, look, I love that. But you can't ask people, and I wish we could, where are you from? What language are you speaking? This is interesting. And this one group, I guess it was a grandmother, I don't know who it was, and they brought her flowers. They were so happy to see her. And they've got the grandkids with the grandmother, and it was wonderful. And I don't know where they were from. I have no earthly idea what country, and then you see things that are so... I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to explain something to you. And I wanted just to ask this question. There was a woman, obese, and I say that because this is our health problem. It's like if you saw people drunk, a lot of people drunk or on the sidewalk, you would say, we have a mental health problem here, but we have a physical health problem, and these people are very, very ill, and they're going to suffer incredibly. They're going to suffer by virtue of this. You could, and they're young. There was a woman. She had on, it looked like kind of a sleeveless thing. I don't want to get into detail, but it was low cut. And what I saw, and what people were taken aback by, I'm wondering, how did she leave her house like this? It was almost circus level. And I'm not talking about girth or any kind of memory gigantism. That's not what I'm talking about. No. I'm talking about if somebody took something and let it just hang for a while, and it hung down here. Imagine a bag of water or fluid that just by virtue of the weight and the gravity just stretched. People were stopped. They were shocked. Not because it was attractive, not because it was erotic, not because it was attractive. It was just like, wow. It's like if somebody walked in with an ear this big. You would say, see that guy's ear? You wouldn't be cruel. You were saying, I've never seen an ear like that. I've never seen anything. And she decided, okay, I'm going to wear this today. I swear to God, I would say, may I talk to you for a moment? Yes. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. We'll give you $100. Why did you wear that? Do you think that's attractive? Or do you care? Maybe you just don't care. The level of tattoos. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I don't know anybody who does not have tattoos. When I see the number of tattoos decreasing. No, you're seeing the number of new tattoos decreasing, because once you have a tattoo, it's it. There was a young woman, she looked just normal, nice, and her arm was covered with sayings. The sayings kill me. The artwork, the graphics, I can understand that, whatever, the paisley, whatever this design is. Some kind of almost a Mandelbrot fractal or something. But when you hear things like, sweet charity, and these profound, let God, only God will judge, like Brett Ernst says, you lay tile. What is this? What are these messages? Or these weird... Embrace the whisper. What? Who wrote this? What does this mean? Well, I'm being profound. No, you're not, because you're trying to read this, which means you end up looking at people like, can you turn your arm a little bit? I can't see what. Well, because of with your pendulous abdomen, this pannus, this panniculus, it looks like, and I don't know what that means. I swear to God, I got into my Yugo, it's a stretch, on the way back. And I just took this in, and I thought to myself, how many of these people know about Trump's indictment? When I was driving through Midtown, how many people know about Trump's indictment? How many people care about whether it's really an espionage act, or was it really the presidential papers decision? How many people do you think really thought to themselves, this is a really do they know anything about this? How many people know about Soros' son? why isn't the right wing more interested in perhaps coming up with some type of a counter to the Soros sun thing? Why is that not the case? Why do you think that's not the case? Why? Where is the right wing Soros? Where is the right wing? Where is the shadow government for your right wing or your cabal? Where are they? Elon Musk is right. He talks a good game. Is he doing anything? Well, not really. He put some good stuff up on YouTube. All right, that's okay. What exactly? Where is this movement that's making the left go crazy? Like, do you know what they're doing? They're having patriotic Martha Washington and George Washington reenactors in public schools. We can't have this. Did you see what Target did? They're doing a patriotic flag. My country, 'tis of thee. This Constitution series. They can't do this. Who are these people? They're actually having I don't know what the right wing version of trans is, but the right wing, whatever you want to call them, are worthless. Do you understand this? They don't do anything. You can laugh all you want about George Soros and his son, but they're doing something. They're doing something. Right wing doesn't do anything. The right wing doesn't do anything. Has absolutely no interest in anything. How is it? And I ask you this question. How is it that your job is just not your, I keep saying you, I don't mean you. But how is it that the right, or whatever this is, sits back and just listens to Hannity all day and Dershowitz, and they're talking about, this is just terrible what they're doing to Trump. They can't do this. They can't do this. Yes, they can. No, they can't. This isn't the Espionage Act. They're doing it. Well, I know, but you can't do this. You can't do this. Yes, they can do this. No, they can't. No, this is how much you're going to listen to this. Please tell me. How much are you going to take of this? How much are you going to take of this? How much? Hang on. Mrs. L, I've got to give her a note. You have to wait. Pardon me. You must wait. What is the matter with you? What is the matter with you? Where are you going? Are you just going to sit back and say, hey, this is great? And would you please explain to me this Tucker Carlson? What is... Are you reading the blinds on that one? Probably not. So you don't know this. There's this other source of news that's... Wait till you see what he unleashes on his people. Ooh, he's a very angry young man. Would you please explain to me why? What has he done? 3 videos? What is so great about these videos? What is he saying that's so terrific? Ladies and gentlemen, stop for a second. He's back. Wendy's is donating. Now, I'm not going to read this because I don't know if this is true, and I don't know what this is, but Wendy's, thank you so much. The Patriot Mobile, I have no idea, so I don't want to inadvertently. This could be a very well-crafted joke, but I thank you for this very, very much. I appreciate this. And by the way, when I ate drive-thrus and things like that, Wendy's was my favorite. There's no comparison. Made fresh, the whole bit. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. Thank you very much for that. And by the way, please explain to me this. I was listening this morning. Let me tell you what I do more and more. I was listening to Walter Williams. You know Walter Williams, the late Walter Williams, Walter Williams was a great African-American economist, George Mason University, I believe. He along with Thomas with Sowell and others. And I'm listening to his wonderful, I listened to his lectures and his interviews with Brian Lamb on C-SPAN. It's so wonderful. And he said something today, and I want you to listen to me. He said, make sure that you ask yourself, are you doing something, are you in favor of something because of the intent or because of the effects? And he separated the idea of doing something that you theoretically think is okay because it makes you feel one way and what it actually accomplishes. Most brilliant thing I've ever heard. Puts it into context. What am I saying? Here's what I want you to do. Listen to me. You ready for this? Listen to me. I want you to go, instead of listening to these mindless commentary from Janine, you can't do that. Yes, you can, Janine. I picture out of, I don't listen to that. I don't know what they're saying. But I want you to use YouTube, the power of YouTube, but I want you to find somebody. Listen to the works of John Mearsheimer talk about Ukraine. Listen to that. Go back and listen to Walter Williams. Listen to Soul. Listen some wonderful, great stuff from Walter Williams. I heard a wonderful lecture. I think Brian Cox, yes. You know, he is the British fellow. He's so wonderful because he talks like that, and he's always smiling. I think that's his name, isn't it, Brian Cox? He's a physicist, not the active from Succession. Brian Cox, he talks like that. And you see the string theory is wonderful thing about it. Is it not the gravitons? It's not a part of the time space. But there's something even more daunting. I don't even know what he's saying, but it sounds so wonderful. He talks like that. It's almost like is he smiling? Is he almost like he just broke wind in church? It's a bit of a anyway. He's doing this thing about AI, and he had on this great little group of people, and one was a very brilliant trans woman. And I'm listening, and I thought, wait a minute, this isn't a. So I got it, because I normally just listen. I don't even see what they look like. And I look and I said, that's a trans woman. And I looked and sure enough, and you know what it mattered? Nothing at all. It didn't matter at all. You see? Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. There's a wonderful YouTube channel on classical piano or music, and sure enough, there was another trans woman, very elegant. She's talking nothing about but his piano. Doesn't matter. Trans. Let me just make sure everybody knows this. Nobody cares about this. It does not matter. But anyway, as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go and I want you to listen to lectures. Listen to a lecture. Listen to a book review. Listen to something from Watergate. Maybe something on Vietnam. I was listening to a wonderful What War is Like. I was just listening to him before. He's very good. He's on... his name is Karl Marlantes, a Rhodes Scholar, Yale. He's on these Vietnam. I love to hear about war and what is war about and why do we do that. And I learn about today's issues by listening to other people talk about something in a way that's very, very smart. Walter Williams talking about cause and effect, but also intent versus effect. Why is it that we do certain things? I want people to understand that we need to work more in critical thinking. How do you analyze things? How do you look at what's going on in the world? What is it? What's going on right now? It's very complicated to explain American politics, but we have an election in 2024, and I talk most of the time with morons, jadrules who know nothing about it, who either like or hate Trump, and it starts off with that. And they mask or mimic this particular way of thinking into somehow a substitute for political thinking, and it's not. And I want there to be, I'm telling you, I want there to be a boot camp. I don't want people to understand some things. And I would love to get young people in particular, I'd love to sit down and say, let me explain something to you. Listen to me, first of all. I want you to learn how to critically think. And we're not going to look at today's news. We're not going to look at anything. We're going to look at something that happened before. And we're going to apply the same thinking to what's going on now. And I want you to sit with me, and we're going to go to JFK, and we're going to go to the JetBlue terminal. We're just going to sit and we're going to watch. And I want you to sit with me, and I want you to say, tell me about that person. Give me a story. Who are they? Are they married? Are they divorced? They live at home? What do you think they do? Is he working? Tell me something that you... Tell me the most important thing. And if you see these people, you don't really know what they are until you listen to them. Until you listen to people. And you don't know what humans are like until you put them together. You see, there's you, the you that works individually, you with your spouse or your whatever, significant other or your children, and then you would do your job, and then you in the world. That's what's critical. How do you fit into the world? Let me ask you a question. Are you a nice person? Let me ask you each a question. Are you a nice person? Would you consider yourself nice? Would people, when you die, and they look back on you and you're gone and they speak truthfully, what will they say about you? What will they say? Will people say you're nice? Not were you honest. Most people say, you're not honest because you're really not in a position of doing anything where your honesty even comes into play. But are you a nice person? Are you? Are you are you nice to people you don't have to be nice to? Are you nice by default? Does being nice to people mean something to you? Does that mean something to you? How do you get along with other people? I think the most important thing is how you get along with people that you're not going to meet again and who technically either are somebody that you could dismiss, somebody who maybe serves you, somebody who, whatever. That tells me a lot. That's the first thing I see. How do you handle people? How do you handle that? Do you know a lot? Are you very smart? Would people who met you, would they say, this is really a smart person? And if so, why? And if not, why? What would people say about you? Is it because of what you know? Is it because of your degrees or what you do? Is it because of what you say? Is it because of the way you think? Is it whatever? There are some people who know a lot about things. And they're able to tell you, well, you see the airplane, you see that's the DC, and that was the initiative, and the fuel efficiency. That's lore. That's not smart. I mean, usually it is, but not really. What is it that's smart? What is it? What is it that you do? What do you know? What do you really know? What is it that motivates you? If you could do any job in the world and get paid for it, what would you love to do? If you can say what you're doing now, you're the luckiest person in the world. If you could say what you are doing now, my job, what I love to do more than anything else, and I've been doing this since 1988, pretty much. I love it more than anything you can imagine, is doing what I'm doing now, is looking at the world and basically telling you, this is what I'm seeing. This is my take. This is my analysis. This is my commentary. This is the way I see it. That's all. It's like I'm looking at the window for you, and I'm telling you this. I'm kind of like your seeing eye dog, so to speak. That's the term. But I'm telling you, this is the way I see it. That's all. I love that more than anything else in the world. It's the most interesting thing in the world. And I'm not here trying to repeat what everybody's saying, and I'm trying to find out, let's look at this differently. Let's look at this differently. And the first thing I know is that most people have no idea. They're not looking at the right thing. They're not looking at people. They have no interest in people. They have no interest in any of this stuff. You're missing it. This is the most important thing in the world. Look at what's going on. Ask yourself, which fishbowl are they in? You're in a fishbowl. They're in a fishbowl. They don't know about your fishbowl. You're talking about things like Trump's indictment. Most people could not care less. Could not. If you say could care less, you're destroying the whole concept of not being able to care less. And not being able to care less because you care so little. The media, in particular, are absolutely despicable. They are the most horrible, horrible, horrible people you can possibly see. I despise them because of their arrogance. I despise them over the fact that they don't know what they're doing. And unless you've been in the media yourself, you cannot believe how profoundly stupid people are. These are propagandists. These are people that I've never seen anything like this before. And they're still being given these jobs, and the arrogance of folks. The arrogance. Look, I gotta... If your job is, if you're saying, listen, I'm not here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to make you smarter. I'm here to sell a program. I'd say, you know what? I understand completely. I understand completely. Let me also tell you something. Something really bothers me too, and I feel so sorry for so many people. Why is it that you have become so personality driven? Why is it that you care so much about what Tucker thinks, or what this one thinks, or what that one thinks? Nobody ever says, "Did you hear what Cronkite said?" Well, you know, Teddy White said. Well, you know, Bill Buckley said. I mean, they said these things, and they were important, but they weren't the story. Today, the people doing it are the story. Why is that? Because we've lost any sense of what the story is. The Trump indictment story is so boring. It is so, there's nothing to it. But there's everything to it. What are you looking at? What in particular? You think anybody wants to talk about that? They can't. Why? Number one, not enough time. Number two, they're playing to the lowest. They have staff writers, they have line producers who put together a script or something, and they're throwing it. They have no idea about the depth. What would be your take on it? What would be yours? And this is one thing which you try to explain this to somebody. This is the most interesting thing. You may not respect the president, but you must respect the presidency. The presidency is Article 2 of the Constitution. This is our thing right now. I know I always point to it, but I love this so much. This is my thing. And Article 2 is the president. And Article 2 is, and they debated this, if you ever want to have I'm telling you, if you want to have yourself the best time, you can do it. You can get them online for free. Read the Federalist Papers, and you will just, oh my God. It will invigorate and reinvigorate your sense of what government is, about the way the system is, the way we as Americans are. Because people don't understand, what does it mean to be an American? Well, you define it by the government. Culture, I'm not sure about. But the government, I can tell you what's this. British people know so much about their system. But understand the presidency. You do not indict a former president. You don't. And you don't put a former president in prison. You don't do that. You don't demean. You don't assail. You don't sully the role of it. Let me ask you a question. If you had the choice, if you had the chance, if I said, by the way, we're in a receiving line, there's President Biden. What would you do if you met him? What would you do if you met? You're in a line, and maybe you're not going out of your way to meet him, but he's right there. What would you do if you met President Biden? What would you do? Tell me what you would do. Versus President Trump. What would you do if you met? I've met Trump, and I've met Clinton, and I've met, that's it. Oh, and I talked to Jimmy Carter once on the phone. That was about it. Somebody said, be gracious, shake his hand, yes. Dick Long says, shun him. Dick Bork says, don't respect him. Be polite and follow proper protocol. Yes, Diane. See, Diane gets it. Diane gets it. Why? Because she understands it's the presidency versus the president. Other people say, see, be polite, manners cost nothing. Exactly. I will not be there. Missing the point. Shake his hand, yes. Or whatever you do. I always had a question if somebody said, if I'm meeting the Queen or the King of England now, what would you do? Now, men don't curtsy and women do. I don't know if you do that, if you don't, if you're not a subject. But I would say I will do whatever I can do to afford respect to the king or the queen, the office, so to speak, the level. But I don't know. I don't know about bowing. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure. If I meet people from different religions, you want to show courtesy and deportment, because what it does is it shows respect for somebody else's thing, not for necessarily the person. Now, you talk to Americans about this, most people, and they'll say, I don't know what you're talking about, because we live in a country of Karens. And a lot of people understand this still, but we live in a country of Karens, and we live in a country of slobs, and we live in a country of people who don't show any respect for anybody about anything. And they don't understand this. And they love to, they don't know, because we don't have respect. So start off with that. The idea of having respect. It's incredible. Once you understand the history, if you understood the history, if you saw Constitution Hall, and if you went to Philly and saw that, it would change the way you think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. PBS says, funding for Lionel is brought to you by the George Soros Foundation and the Ted Baxter Cookie Cutter Foundation. Any viewers like you. You are, I don't know who you are, PBS, but you kill me. Thank you for that. I have the utmost respect for the power of George Soros. The power. Xi Jinping, George Soros. Who else? Who don't you like? I'm trying to think somebody that I would, because I can separate the power from the see, I would love to, I'm able to listen to what people say, and I don't get upset over it. I would love to say to George Soros, you put your money where your mouth is. You are able to create such a hatred and an enmity by virtue of what you attract. But I would say, but Mr. Soros, you know and I know, you're not the people in charge. You see, one thing that I have, and I have a feel for this. The people who run the world, the most powerful people in the world, probably more committee versus one person, two people, but they are people whose names you do not know. They do not like power. And they may not be the richest people in the world either. See, money and power have no... One of the richest people in the world is Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is owned by shadow government or superstructure. The same thing with Zuckerberg and others as well. They're owned. If you think that Elon Musk could turn his wealth against those people, no. He knows better than anybody else. You don't do this. He is the most fascinating, because what he's doing is, if you sat down and said, okay, explain this to me. Explain this to me. Where is your wealth? How do you feel it? See, in the old days, in the Gilded days, people would say, well, I have my cottages in Newport, and here in this area, you cannot believe, you go to certain parts. By the way, New Rochelle, they have Thomas Paine's home, and you have all these where these places were. It's just incredible. This is where, the Morgans and the J. Pierpont Morgan and others, and the Carnegies as they're called, they're and what's interesting about these people, I find very interesting, of tremendous note, is that these are people who they showed you their wealth. Well, what does Bill Gates do? Bill Gates is, again, also fascinates me, Because Bill Gates does not merely want to sit around and fly around. He wants to change everything. He doesn't want to buy all of the farmland just to whatever. He wants to be, these are agents of almost a new government, a government that controls everything. The shadow government. They're in the past. He's not just this rich guy who decided, okay, I'm going to be involved in something. No. The thing that's interesting is that the people who really run the show today say, we're going to put people in the front who are going to take the heat. They're there. Let them do it. Do you think, what's more important, the CIA or the NSA or the FBI? Who's more powerful or the most powerful? The answer is none of them. The most powerful organization in the world doesn't have a name, doesn't have people, doesn't have a parking lot, doesn't have a business card. Doesn't work like that. Anytime somebody is identified to you, anytime there's an organization, that's a front. They're not in charge. And George Soros is perfect. George Soros comes along and he says, I'm going to single-handedly fund the what do I say this? I'm going to fund I guess I'm going to fund the organization. I'm going to fund the, oh God, what am I trying to say? I'm going to fund the, hang on a second here. I'm going to fund an organization that puts as many liberal, progressive, whatever you want to call the people, in the offices of DA. I'm going to do that. And he was successful. What did the right do to stop him? Nothing. Fetterman won against Dr. Oz. What did the right do to counter Fetterman? Nothing. Nothing. They put him on. They put Oz on what? Hannity? That didn't do anything. He lost. Where's Dr. Oz now? Nowhere to be found because his heart was never in it. He thought, I can just do it. I respect these people. They get things done. BlackRock ESG. Actually, ESG is more World Economic Forum. Don't forget the Human Rights Commission. They get it done. Klaus Schwab gets it done. DEI, ESG, all of these corporate CEI, corporate entitlement index or indices, they get it done. All these people get it done. What does the right do? Nothing. You've got Sean Hannity. You've got a Tucker Carlson video. You jump and scream up and down because Tucker puts out 3 videos that say absolutely nothing. And you are being asked to believe that somehow this means something. This means something. The right puts their money in some smart-ass Greg Gutfeld as though that's a substitute for something. It means nothing. Who was the right wing's George Soros? Nobody. Go back in history. Understand what's happening. When people talk about this time, they're going to say the right wing, the conservatives, became louder and less effective than anybody any time in history. They stand for nothing. They're just big mouths. And you know it's true. You agree with me? People keep saying BlackRock. BlackRock this. BlackRock that. Fink. BlackRock. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You bring up BlackRock. Okay, let me ask you this. BlackRock gets richer by destroying... Okay, what are you going to do about it? BlackRock CEO admits investment firm would force behaviors in 2 interviews. Yes. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You're identifying it. Mr. Fink or whatever from BlackRock. Isn't that his name? Larry... Let me get the name of this. Yep, Larry Fink. Yep. Larry Fink tells you exactly what he's going to do. Nothing that Larry Fink is doing is unlawful. Nothing is against the law. Nothing is improper. Nothing is nothing. So what do? Well, what happens is we're going to sit around and we're going to say, yeah, and you're going to, and BlackRock, spread the word. Okay. What does that mean? Well, yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of that. Well, what about it? Well, yeah. It's like when people talk about Pfizer, or people talk about Fauci, or people talked about CDC. And with all that Bobby Kennedy said, what happened? What was changed? What was stopped? Nothing. Somebody says, arrest him. Arrest him for what? I don't know. I just say arrest him. No, arrest who? Larry Fink for what? Arrest Soros for what? What would you arrest? What did he do wrong? What? I don't know. But look, this is my contribution. I yell and I rail. No, they're brilliant. This is Man of the Year. You want to say, congratulations, you do it. Somebody says, why bash Carlson? Tucker Carlson doesn't do anything. Tucker Carlson is nothing but, no, I'm saying, it's wonderful. Why are you getting so thrilled and you feel like, wow, we're making progress? Because he dropped 3 videos? That's it. This is the production time? What is it? Where is this? Maybe you can help me. Where is this adoration? What is he telling you? He is somehow diffusing your activism by having you say, I'm going to take my energy, and instead of maybe learning something or I don't know, voting, getting out, I'm just going to keep sending his videos. Did you hear this preposterous, this absolute lunacy how, and the moment that they turned on Donald Trump was when he went against the neocons or some. And that may be great for views. That's it. He got 50 million views. Let me ask you, what does that mean? What do you mean, what does that mean? Well, what does that mean? How many views did George Soros get? I don't know. He's getting stuff done. What is it? Well, he got 50 million views. What does that mean? Well, in our world of media metrics, that means something. That means you're worth. That means a lot of people watched him. It's free. Okay, so you click it. Good. Can I ask you a question? How many people here believe the numbers? Do you think Elon Musk ever put the thumb on the scale? If Elon Musk wanted to say, I want him to say 10, he could do just what the predecessor did. He could make it so that nobody knows anything. Or he could turn it up so that people would say, Twitter is now the place to go. Twitter is now where people go. McDonald's. No, do not put those French fries into your mouth. Instead, put them directly inside your quarter pounder where they belong. The hottest, juiciest quarter. Thank you, McDonald's. This is some of the most brilliant things. Thank you for that, I guess. And you know what makes the fries taste so good at McDonald's? Beef tallow. But I digress. Thank you for that. Does anybody really think, seriously? Does anybody, it's so funny, you have this incredible sense of suspicion when it comes to Soros. But when it comes to Elon Musk, you have nothing. When it comes to Tucker, you have nothing. You have no, he's our hero. Okay. What does this mean? What does this mean? Do you believe these stories? Do you believe this? And what does this mean? I don't know. Now, somebody talked about the Dave Grush story. May I ask a question? The other night, as you know, I was on with this was very interesting. He's a very nice man. I like him a lot. Dr. Drew. But I was on with this fellow, Changizi, and they were talking about whether there was evidence or whether he had evidence or whether it was believed and that there was evidence of these new of UFO bodies or whatever being found, okay? So how are you supposed to read that? And here's a story. This claims made by, this is, look at this. This is from Forbes. It says, claims made by UFO whistleblower, in quotes, Dave Grush, are pure science fiction. And Forbes writes, UFO fever has been sweeping through the internet in the wake of explosive claims made by UFO whistleblower David Grush, who was, I guess, a former Intel official, blah, blah, blah. And he appeared on News Nation. It's good for News Nation. To elaborate on his claims, interviewed by journalist Russ Coulthart or something. And it says there, UFO skeptic Mark West released an excellent response that delves into the details of his claims. Notably, many of Grush's claims contain illogical assumptions popularized by science fiction tropes. Now, let me ask you this question. And nobody wants to talk about this. Do you believe, well, let me rephrase this. What's the issue here? What's your take on Mr. Grush? If Mr. Grush is full of it, does that mean there are no UFOs? If somebody is standing on a corner who is demented, some delusional crackpot, who talks about seeing Jesus or seeing God or whatever it is, does that mean there's no God because the person is saying that is crazy? Does that mean if somebody's standing there hearing the voice, and I've got all these, I've collected them over the years, pictures of, repent and people standing on the corner and, whatever. Does that mean there's no Jesus or no God because this guy's crazy? No. So the question really is, what do you make out of it? What's the purpose of it? Does it make any difference? It's kind of interesting. And if there were to be the revelation as far as the existence of UFOs, do you think your government, first of all, would ever say, well, it's official? We're reporting live from the White House or live from the Capitol where science, whatever, Pentagon says it's official. We have been visited by a number of people. Here are their pictures. Here's the evidence. Here's where they're kept. The bodies are still they're on ice. They were preserved. Here are the pictures. We've learned from telepathy from them. We've learned about, we've used, like Philip Corso said, their eyes. We've retro-engineered them to devise night vision goggles, and that's the way that is. Do you think they would ever do that? Do you think you would ever hear that? Do you think your government would, or anybody would ever officially say it's official? Do you think there's already evidence of something? We don't know. So the question is, what difference does Dave Grush make, and what I mean, it's interesting. Every now and then there'll be a story. It's like, oh, look, there's a picture of, there's Jesus in a ham sandwich. Or, oh, look, there's Princess Di in rice pudding or something. Or there will be claims of miracles. Or we've had Fatima, we've had Lourdes, we've been having all of this stuff. Does that have anything to do with the existence of God? That's the question. What does it have to do with anything? Do you think that your government would ever say, do you think anybody's going to say, well, it's official, yep, they're here? Do you ever think so? Of course not. Of course not. There are also people who love to be, like this guy, Michael Shermer. He loves to be a skeptic. When I was on with Dr. Drew, he talked about people. He says, well, you see, people have hypnagogic, what? People who have hypnagogic, I know people all the time who sometimes will fall in love. Everybody they go out with, I found the love of my life. No, you're not. It's a false positive. Doesn't mean there's no love. It means you're indiscriminate with your feeling. Nobody knows how to even look at this. Nobody even knows how to sit back and say, well, let's talk about this. What's the issue? What's the main issue? Do they exist? Can they exist? The other night with this guy, Changizi, I think his name is, he said, well, it takes so long to get there. I said, excuse me, why do you think they get up in the morning and they hop into their spacecraft and they fly over here? And then they turn around and they go back? Do you think that? What does it mean it takes so long to get here? What does that mean? You're repeating a trope. Zeta Reticuli, I think it's a binary star system. But what is it, about 30 light years away? Okay. And the faster that you go approaching the speed of light, the shorter the time it is to get here. So if you're traveling real fast, what's a minute to you could be a month. I don't know. Have you ever heard people talk about, is it possible to go faster than the speed of light? Now, people are just that's one of these things. No, this does not work. Listen to what people are saying. Listen to how they're slamming string theory. Look how people like Brian Greene are being. Look how Eric Weinstein's blasting these people, up to and including Ed Witten. So when I ask these people, do you think that, what, to get here through a wormhole? Describe a wormhole to me. You understand that? I mean, are you just poo-pooing this? When people start off with the premise that I get a kick, I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic, and I get off by laughing at this. That's what I do. Then you're the Michael Shermer. And that's what they do. They love to say, there's these people, there's always been, okay. Well, can I talk to you about what I think is the basis of religion? Wait a minute. No. Can I talk about how I think that from the beginning of time, man, the first time man heard thunder, experienced death, maybe saw lightning, maybe saw a volcano. Somebody somewhere said, there has to be somebody in charge. And there has to be somebody somewhere. Somebody in charge. And this primitive, inexplicably uncommunicative person came up with this idea. And on the 8th day, man created God. How do you like that? Now, does that mean there's no God? Or did mankind come up with a parallel or a means of explicating something that is true? When my friend who thinks she's falling in love with everybody she meets, does that mean there's no love? Or she's very poor at discerning what's what? If you don't know how to critically think, you're no good to anybody. There are people who are saying, do not talk about that. I told you about this one time. There is something called haunted. There are people out there, very, very, very wise people, who say, I have seen things. My mother, my father, somebody after death, I saw them. It was as clear as day. What, are they crazy? The Dr. Drew, whom I respect a lot, he would say, well, you see, the reason for that. No, excuse me. No, wait. Listen to what they're saying. Is it possible to have a ghost? Is it something that somebody lives in a state that is between life and death, the way plasma is between, solid and liquid, and are you going to start off with the premise of that's ridiculous? When somebody, I have met more phony baloney psychics in my life. A friend of mine says, I'm psychic. Okay, whatever. Now, do psychics exist? Well, they've been talking about psychics for a long time. Am I in a position of saying psychics don't exist? No. Do I think a lot of psychics are full of it? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Does that mean there's no psychic? No. Psychics are not like magic. Magic is just a technique to cause an illusion. There is no such thing as magic. I mean, there's magic, but it's not really, the coin really doesn't disappear. It's someplace else and you didn't notice it. But if somebody says there is that, there's a ghost, are they making, what am I supposed to say? That's crazy. Really? How do you know that's crazy? Well, because in my peer group, if I say this, if I'm Michael Shermer and I'm the head of Skeptic magazine, they tune in to say, let's talk to professional skeptic. Excuse me, he's a denier, to use the word denier. Why is it that psychics I don't go to them. I don't. But who cares about me? Everything's always personalized. Well, I don't. I've never seen. Excuse me, we're not talking about you. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think that. Okay, fine. Great. Wonderful. Here's my question, and this is the most important thing. What do you think is the chance that there exists something in a form you cannot see or appreciate at this sentience level? Most sounds we can't hear. Most things we can't see. We don't see microscopic. We don't see ultraviolet. We don't see microwave. We see this we don't know anything. We don't hear anything. We don't know nothing. How do you know this? If you didn't have a radio, you would swear there's no radio waves. If you did not have any kind of cable, you'd swear, I don't know what this TV you're talking about. I don't. For you to sit here and to be so hubristic as to think that none of this exists because in your mind you have already declared these people to be stupid or backwards, whether it's religion, whether it's whatever. And by the way, if somebody's full of it, that doesn't mean the claim is wrong. There's a difference between somebody thinking always God, God told me that, okay, fine. Doesn't mean there's no God. He might be full of it, or he might be true. I don't know. Here's the headline. You don't have to make up your mind. You don't have to necessarily agree that something is or isn't true. You have to always make sure, am I thinking the right stuff? We need to have boot camps. We need to take you back and teach you how to think and be able to handle two seemingly inconsistent things, as Scott Fitzgerald says, and not lose your mind in the middle. Keep an open mind, be able to assess it, but you do not have to necessarily say, well, I don't believe this stuff. Smokey Bear says, only you can prevent forest fires. You are correct, Smokey. Thank you, Smoke. Thank you for that. Good man, Smokey. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying here? I've got no time for any of these people. I've got no. Yes, Liz Solak, remember to like this. My friends, I cannot tell you enough. To like this, to join us, to be a part of our family every day, so critical. Well, I'm going to leave you right now. I'm going to thank you. You've been wonderful. That's all. We have a lot to talk about. And what I'm trying to do is maybe open your mind to new things. Smokey Bear, I want to thank you. I think McDonald's, thank you. And Wendy's, thank you. PBS. And did Wendy's, was it Wendy's? No. Oh, yes, Wendy's, thank you, thank you. So kind. So kind and so nice. Please like these videos. Again, the metrics mean everything. It's the algorithm that opens us all up. You have been a delight. I will see you tonight at 7 p.m. Same bad time, same bad channel. Every single night. 8 a.m. today was a little different, but anyway, thank you for this. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your open-mindedness and your brilliance. Until we meet again, remember, this is Lionel, your new best friend, reminding you, as we always provide you with this valedictory, the monkey's dead, the show's over, sue ya, ta-ta.